Saturday. I am Keisha Sharp Jefferson on this Self-Care Saturday. Listen to Janet Jackson today asking, what have you done for me lately? Play a little bit more of that because I know you're tired after the holiday. Need to be asking people, what have they done for you lately? Anyway, I just thought that was a fun little start to the day because listen, we have cooked, we have been shopping, we have done everything that we think that we could do around the holidays, and we're normally just worn out. So I think you need to be asking others not what have they done for you lately, but the question today is, what have you done for you lately? I just thought it was a cute little song with Janet Jackson. Reminds me of my wild and out days back in the 80s, right? Right. So anyway, we're going to turn that off and we're going to go on and say, hello, everybody. This is Keisha, Coach K, on Self-Care Saturday. We hadn't been on in a while with the holidays and all of the different things that we have going, but I did want to come on this morning on this Saturday and have one of my special friends, one of my super friends is going to join me in just a little while to talk about self-care and what that looks like. So you know that whenever you share out our self-care broadcast on Saturdays, we make it possible for you to win. So sharing out the broadcast gives you an opportunity to win some products. So we're going to choose two winners today, and you have an opportunity to win some products, whether it's our All Shea Naturals body butter. Talk about what have you done for me lately. Wow, one of our top sellers there. And then if not the body butter, let me show you something else. Let me show you. You call that goodness in a jar. You call that sweetness in a jar. It's our brown sugar scrub. Another one of our hot sellers is our moisturizing spray, moisturizing spritz you can use for body. See my hand right here that I'm spraying it on my hand, rubbing it in. You can also use it for the hair, natural hair. Great little addition to your natural hairline. So again, Keisha Sharp Jefferson, and we're talking Self-Care Saturday. So why do I do this each and every Saturday? Not each and every Saturday, but whenever we host on Saturday, every other Saturday, because we need it. We are in a different arena right now. We are in an arena in which we are stuck at home, sheltering in place, dealing with a pandemic. So everything looks different. Everything feels different. You haven't had the breakaway a lot of times from your husband or your kids and if your parents stay with you or other family members, everybody's just kind of all together. Now, the great thing about it is God is giving us time to be with one another. He's giving us time that we may not have ordinarily had. The bad thing is we really have not had an opportunity to have a proper break. And in the middle of the cooking, in the middle of the preparing Thanksgiving dinner, in the middle of caring for everybody else, in the middle of homeschooling, in the middle of cleaning the house, in the middle of working. You see where I'm going with all of that? It makes it very, very tough to remember you. There is such a phenomenon as holiday hangover. You ever heard of it? Holiday hangover. It's when you suffer this fatigue from doing all of these things, the decorating, the cooking, the entertaining, or the Zooming as we are in this day and age, right? The caring for the family, the shopping, etc., etc. Go look it up. I Googled it. Holiday hangover. Much like a drunken hangover, there is such a thing as a holiday hangover when we do way too much and we are just mentally and physically exhausted. So I want to encourage you this morning. Thanksgiving is behind us. Nothing we can do about that. But if it's just a few hours, if it's just half a day, or if it's just one day even that you're able to take to steal away, my heart is to encourage you to do so. So remember, again, we want you to share out the broadcast because when you share, sharing is caring, as they say. And you have the opportunity to win. Right after this broadcast, we're going to announce our two winners. From those of you who have shared the broadcast, you're going to win some All Shea Naturals products. We're going to just simply mail it to you. But again, this morning, we wanted to take an opportunity to talk about self-care for you. And by the way, you're going to be eligible to win All Shea Naturals products, right? Here's what you also need to know. We're continuing right now our buy one, get one free, at least through the end of the day, because it's been such a huge success. So we want to make it available to those of you who have not quite had an opportunity to take advantage before now. Buy one, get one. So that's allsheanaturals.com. And that's my gift to all of you to be able, and I'm going to put the, and I'm typing as I'm talking to you. So I'll put the information at the bottom of the screen. But I want to make sure that I give you all an opportunity to take care of yourself. I want to make sure that I give you all an opportunity to practice the art of self-care and bring the spa home to you. So without further ado, I am going to bring my friend on board, Ronda Robinson McKenzie. And Ronda, I feel like I am slow going on this Saturday morning. I feel like I'm just kind of, in la la land.
Yeah.
After cooking and after, and once I hang up with this, I really do this, Rhonda, as an opportunity to kind of gift people and really to remind them how critical self-care is, because sometimes I don't do very well with it. I know you're a business owner, wife, mother. How's your self-care these days?
So, we've had a rough couple of months. It's been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
From the pandemic to things shutting down and having to homeschool or juggle how to work and handle the kids and continue with your regular family duties. We had the police brutality issues over the summer, the election. It just seems like one thing after another. And I'm mentally exhausted, to be honest with you. I'm just like done. I'm ready for 2020 to kind of just be a wrap. I'm looking forward to bigger and better things in 2021. But yeah, so I love green tea. I love to sit outside. So whether it's like just in my little chair enjoying the weather or maybe at the beach, I love watching the waves and the water. It's calming and relaxing for me. I like to journal. And I feel like that's an easy way for me to kind of express my feelings. So when I see it on paper and then I can go back and read it and reflect it later. And I also, this year, I'm going to pull back out the gratitude jar. I did this a couple of years ago and loved it, but I don't know how. I probably just got busy and got away from it. But New Year's Eve, I usually start it. And so I go throughout the year just every day putting a little nugget that I'm thankful for. And then after about 6 months, or either sometimes I've waited a whole year and I'll go back and start reading some of those things. And it's amazing how many things, because you may be like, how can you fill up a jar with just thank yous? But you'd be amazed at all of the little things that we forget to be thankful about, that we take for granted. So simple things like being able to go to the kitchen and cut on the faucet and water comes out. I mean, that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Yes. My family, my daughter, just all kinds of things you can be thankful for every day. And it really helped me kind of take a step back and say, wow, I need to do a better job of saying saying thank you, calling my mom and just saying I love you, not just calling her when I need to, vent about something, or my friends, my best friend, just calling and saying thank you for being there. So it really makes you kind of reflect and think about yourself and your life. And sometimes we think that things are oh so horrible and bad. And when you start looking every day for something to be thankful for, you realize how blessed you really are.
Yeah, that's good. And you talked about gratitude. You hit on so many things that I'm just kind of tickled about when you went through that list at first and you talked about, going to the beach and you talked about loving being outside and, loving to journal. I'm like, am I listening to myself over there? Like, I didn't know that we had all that kind of stuff that was similar, but you were touching on some points with me there, and nature just seems to open me up in a very peaceful way, whether it's on the beach, whether it's in Gatlinburg looking at the mountains, or whether it's just being outside and being in the grass and doing something that I call, I don't know if you've heard of this before, Rhonda, or those of you out there have heard of this, but doing something that I call grounding,
Huh.
which is really connect. And I don't know that it's wise to do it right now because I know it's a little colder, but taking time, both of us, natural hair, it's all fitting because, you tend to, I think once you kind of go on this natural journey, I think you start really connecting to the essence of you and connecting to your community, connecting to the world and seeing the world even in a different way. But one of the things, because I was challenged at one point with anxiety, talking about self-care Saturday, I was challenged with anxiety. Part of my story, end up leaving 12 years as a former newscaster, but then went 12 years in corporate America, left there and was at the height of anxiety, but kind of moving away from there. It's come all the way down. And grounding is one of the things that I did from the summer. And that's literally connecting with the ground, literally taking your shoes off and
Wow.
literally walking across grass or dirt or whatever. It's a phenomenon called grounding, and it serves to connect you a little bit more and even helps take down supposedly anxiety. And I will say it worked.
Huh.
Um, kind of fascinating, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that from my research, but like I said, you hit on so many things, and I want to go back to this phenomenon about gratitude, and I'm calling it a phenomenon because we are in the middle of some challenging times, no doubt. But I was talking to a young lady yesterday who has opened a business, and she said, I just opened the business in the past 4 months, and she said the blessing in all of that is not only was I able to open the business, but I just found out we no longer are going back to work in the office from here on out. We're going to be working
Wow.
from home. So
Wow.
I know it's different, but in some things, it's so much better. And my prayer is that we all do that. Don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah. And how blessed is she that she can open a business when so many businesses are closing right now
Thank you.
because of the pandemic. So that is just, that's amazing. That is
And
amazing. But we all need to have a hustle. We need to have something we can call our own,
yeah,
because one day we may decide we don't no longer want the corporate world or want that full-time job, or you could be let go on, you may not want to leave. They may decide that they no longer want you. So
thank you.
it's always good to have something else.
And one of the reasons that allowed me to be very confident in walking through is that my business, I do a business, allshaynaturals.com. That's one arm. There's another arm that's a coach, okay? But that just kind of comes naturally because you and I have these backgrounds as communicators. So I think God blessed us to understand, take that gift and transfer it into another arena. You can literally do that. But I walked away. And Rhonda, let me tell you something. I sit here and I make these shea butters. I whip up these shea butters and scrubs, and you can see this one is well used and well loved. In that one. So I make these natural hair products. And listen, it's not about me pushing a product today, but the issue is, Rhonda just said it, a hustle. So I
Yeah.
could walk away from a job of 12 years and not be afraid because I had an understanding of how to work the business. And I want to say to those of you this morning right now, if you are working and you're like, man, I wish I had an opportunity. Well, here's the deal. sometimes it's not about wishing you had an opportunity as much as it is creating the opportunity. So I did some very specific things in terms of preparing. Rhonda can probably tell. Rhonda, we probably need to really host something on how to go from full-time employee to entrepreneur, because
I
there's,
think so.
you know what I mean? There's steps to do that. And I don't know about you, but I was limited for years on how to do it. But it's really not that difficult. But in the midst of people giving you the steps and all that great stuff, you have to find your own way. So anyway, I'm talking a whole lot, but I was saying all of that to say, Rhonda, gratitude. And I wanted you to tell us a little bit more about your activity and what you said. You think of something that you're thankful for each day. That's challenging me. That's a great idea, but that's challenging me to actually do that. But I think it's great.
Yeah, at first it was overwhelming. But as the days went on, it became easier and I actually look forward to it. So you just take a little scrap piece of paper. Some people like to cut up index cards. Some people
Hmm.
like to make them really fancy and decorate the little pieces of paper
Hmm.
before they put, whatever it is they're thankful on the paper. But I just cut up, some scrap paper and, decided to just write some things down every day that I'm thankful for. And then a couple of months later, either 6 months or a year, you go back and open up the jar and read off some of those things. And you're like, wow, yeah, I have a lot to be thankful for. There's so many things you see on TV, or you feel like your life is this way or that way because of whatever challenges you may face. And it's so easy when we're living in our own little bubbles to assume, oh, woe is me, things are bad. I didn't have money for this, or my neighbor's buying all this expensive stuff and I can't afford to buy it. But if you really start to take the time to reflect on what you really have, you have a lot to be thankful for. A lot. It,
That's
it could be as simple as health. I didn't get COVID this year. I mean, that's huge.
that's so good on so many levels. Rhonda, you mentioned COVID. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
You know, we're newscasters, and I say once a newscaster. Well, my specific saying is once a reporter, always a reporter.
always.
Always. You love to tell stories, and in some form or fashion, you're going to keep up with the news and you see it from a different perspective. What has COVID done for our lives this year and in this time? I know it's different, but if you had to give us a synopsis, from your brain and what you've seen, what has COVID done for us and done to us?
I think it has forced us to figure out other ways to live.
Yeah.
Suddenly we realize it's not that important to go into the office and meet and sit around the conference room and have all these meetings all day. We don't have to do that in order to continue to function as a business, as a
Mm,
company.
mm,
At home, we've realized maybe I can make it, a month without certain things because I had to do it and I did it this summer.
yeah.
So I think it has opened our eyes up to what's really important, because when you're faced with life or death situations, when the whole state is shut down, I mean, that really gives you time to think about, okay, what's important now? Because I
Yeah.
have to really prioritize things. My job, I don't know when my job is coming back, or if I'm coming back to a job. So I've got to really prioritize what's important to me. And I think it really had us looking at our relationships within our families. I think we hugged them a little tighter.
Mm,
I think we really became protective of our babies,
mm,
because we wanted to keep them safe. I really do. I think a lot of the extra stuff that we just probably did and really didn't need to do,
mhm.
we suddenly realized how much we could accomplish without some of those extras. Now, I love going to the movies and I love doing a lot of things. I love traveling.
Yeah.
Um, but I also enjoyed sitting on the couch with my daughter doing the whole Netflix and chill thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, this is interesting that you say this because My lifestyle, I almost think the Lord allowed me to prepare for this before it happened by allowing me to deal with a health issue, which really I think at the core was anxiety. So
Mhm.
I had to take a step back. I had to come out of my busy lifestyle. I had to cut down on the appointments. I had to find other ways to support my friends to the degree, Rhonda, where I think some people may have thought, well, she doesn't, we don't see her. She's not out like she used to be, because I had to find out that isn't as important. I was going to all the meetings, I was going to the mixers, I was working, I was out and about trying to shop and do everything that I thought I needed to do. So
Right.
he put me or allowed me, I think, to be in a position to say, no, let my life be more reflective
Mhm.
than about productivity. Let me step back from all the activities. And that's what I had to do. And you touched on something with me, girl, when you said, we learned we didn't have to go and sit in the office and have all these meetings. You touched on something with me there
Yeah.
because I remember intricately when I was in the height of my health battle with anxiety. I remember sitting in an office. I remember driving to work. It was a task to drive to work. Okay.
Mm.
Once I got to work, I got to work. Talking about the monster that is anxiety, that comes, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, from you being overstressed and overtaxed for such a long period of time. Your body has to react and release somehow. And I believe for me, that was the way that it released. So in a meeting, and I sat there and I felt horrific, Rhonda. I just thought, I can't do this. And immediately after the meeting, I ended up going home
Mm.
and I had to kind of finish work from home the rest of the day. It is something, anxiety manifested itself as chest issues, breathing issues, even chest pain. Which, as you know, anytime you talk about the chest, you start thinking heart. Okay, so doing that and doing business that way and feeling like you're under siege at the office. Why am I saying that? I want to just put a pin in what Rhonda said, and that we've learned that we can do business differently. We don't have to go to the office. So some of you are like clamoring, oh my God, I'm tired of being here at home. I'm ready to get back to work. I'm ready to do. God has caused a gigantic pause, I believe, for all of us. I don't think he's
Mhm.
caused COVID. Please don't hear me wrong in saying that. But COVID has been allowed to enter, and I think it's to give all of us a breather.
Yeah.
And let me say before, because I want you to comment on that, Rhonda, or give your thoughts on that. Please share the broadcast. I see y'all are coming in this morning, maybe a little slow to wake up. Don't forget to share because you have the opportunity to win some free product. I'll go back and choose a winner right after this. Plus, Rhonda's sharing some good stuff, and I want y'all to hear it. so, so
And that product is good. I had some. You. I don't know if you still sell it at Dr. Nova Law's office.
I do.
Yeah, that's where I got mine.
There. Oh, thank you. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna find when I see you again, I'm gonna bring you some stuff. I'm gonna hook you up just for that plug.
Woo!
We have a Tammy Toe on here who says, y'all, this is some good information. Well, Tammy, one of the things that I want to do is be more of a collaborator instead of being a competitor. I think we can do so much more when we're together, and you will see that in the coming months between me and Rhonda, between me and some of my other what I call super friends. Okay, I touched on something a little bit earlier when I talked about just the changing of the guard, and we're not having to, work in the office anymore, Rhonda. Just
Yeah.
how things are changing. Your continued thoughts on that. I know you shared a little earlier, but just to encourage someone who's listening and who's saying, this is different. I don't know how I can do this, or who's been complaining. What would
Yeah.
you say?
Yeah. So, I'm a former broadcaster as well, and former news anchor, investigative reporter. So we had a lot of meetings in television. So we'd have to meet in the morning to discuss the stories we were going to do throughout the day. Then as a reporter, throughout the day, I'd have to check in with the producers and sometimes the anchors and sometimes the managers to let them know how the story's coming along. and I did a lot of the investigative reports. So we really had to scrutinize my stories, because if I went on the air accusing someone of something or did this big confrontation, we could get sued. So we had a lot of meetings, over the course of my career there. So we'd meet in the morning, we'd check in and have discussions over the phone. We'd meet again, like midway through the day. Sometimes they want to look at the story and kind of dissect it, look at the script, look at the video, look at the sound, and then it may finally air. So yes, I'm familiar with meetings. But yeah, with COVID, a lot of people are learning that we can do more than we thought we could. If we are organized, we can handle a lot more, away from the office. It could be an email. It could be a face-to-face, Facebook Live, Zoom. We are learning that it doesn't have to be in person, and we don't have to meet as much as we were. I think in some situations, you would meet just to set up how you were going to meet again, And when I started my business, I did a lot of in-person meetings. I would go to my clients' offices, and then we held a lot of in-person events. So what did we do? We had to pivot to virtual events, and we had to pivot to meeting, via Zoom, or we did more phone calls. But we just had to figure it out. But you just have to be a little more creative about how to do it, how to accomplish it, and make it effective.
And, in this season, Take a Break, boy, the meeting to set up the meetings. You know what I mean? I think we were meeting to either just see each other or just to see, okay, let's set this up or let's prepare. I mean, it some of it was ad nauseum. And listen, I remember all of that from being in the broadcast, the morning meeting at 9:00, then the 2:00 meeting, and then all the phone calls. And then when you come in, you've got to show your story to the producer, and they're writing and but guess what? Not only did I remember that as part of my broadcast career, because, we have a skill set as reporters in which we know how to write, in which we know how to tell stories. I found, and this was really a blessing, but I found that I became responsible for that skill set in corporate America. So what happened? You start with the meetings, you start with the 9:00 meetings. You start with then there are other meetings and throughout the day, because you've got to meet to discuss your story. You've got to get it edited. You've got to get it approved. You've got to meet with the video. So that in and of itself almost felt like I was going back to the broadcast industry. Why? Because corporate America is tasked with having to tell their own story, because the news industry changed. People like us either left, or either there were cutbacks that came at one particular point in the news industry, the television industry specifically, and the newspaper industry specifically. And so there was less staff. So corporate America couldn't depend on the news stations anymore. So they had to start telling their own story. So they had folks like me and some other of my colleagues, who had that skill set. And let me tell you, Rhonda, I loved every second of it. But when I think about where I am now I still write. I write for the Birmingham Times. You're a consultant, and you work with a lot of corporations and a lot of individuals on different projects. And so we still have to do that. But boy, it's a little bit different when you're actually able to do it on your own. I want to get to a couple of comments, and I want to say good morning to some people. I want to say good morning to Tammy. And y'all, I'm squinting because I need to have on my glasses, but I'm being a little, not being hard-headed. I just needed to be in front of this place at this time. And didn't have it. So it was like glasses or be on time. Glasses, be on time. So I chose to be on time. Tamara Anderson, my good buddy Tamara. Hey, Tam. Tam says good morning. Teresa says good morning. I
Good
wanted to
morning.
share this. Felicia Fortune, a long time buddy of mine, friend of mine. I can relate to your story leaving corporate America and starting a successful pediatric urgent care. She left corporate America and ended up starting a successful pediatric urgent care. So she's saying that she can relate too. And, the thing that I want people to hear in that is in Rhonda's life, Rhonda, former newscaster who had to do all the meetings with executives, double check and check again, with facts for her particular investigative reporter segment. Me, being a newscaster, former
Mhm.
newscaster, former corporate spokesperson and media relations person. We literally have taken the skills and applied those to different area. I'm in coaching, life coaching, some communications consulting, and Rhonda in communications consulting as well. So, what can you take? That's the question I asked you today. What can you take? What gift can you lift from your everyday life that you're doing now to make sure that you go and create a cushion for yourself or a side hustle, as my girl Rhonda said? Or
Yeah, if you're a good cook, one thing
come
I
on now,
noticed during COVID,
come on now,
hey, people have to eat no matter what situation we're in.
come on now.
You're always going to make some money if your product is good. People like your food. You bake cakes, you make pies, whatever. That's some side money that you could be making. And if for whatever reason you decide you don't want to do your full-time job anymore, then you just do it full-time.
That's good.
Yeah.
And why not test market the since you're going there? Come on, Rhonda, you're preaching up right on my street right now, on your street too, I guess.
Yes.
But if you're gonna do it, allow your current position, if you're working from home or if the hours have slowed down,
Yeah.
allow your current position to continue to provide the health insurance. Thank God that you continue to have that.
Right.
Thank God for the money that you do have in. So now you got the time. Now you have the wherewithal and the mental space to think about, okay, what do I do? How can I create without being stressed out with all the meetings? So now you can bring your side hustle in and you can
Yeah.
allow your full-time job to continue to and fund most of your bills, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. But then you can bring that side hustle in and kind of learn the basics of it and work that. And you can either, some people successfully continue to do their main gig and their side hustles.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm a
Yeah.
person who I did it for a while, but I knew a season was coming where I had to let it go because
Yeah.
it was tough. Tamara on here says COVID has slowed me down, and I appreciate all that God has blessed me with, especially family. I think all of us are saying that, aren't we, Rhonda?
Yeah. It slowed me down too. I was on the go all the time. And almost the first couple of days, I was kind of going a little crazy because I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to get,
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
but
mhm.
as I kind of took a deep breath, it was like, oh, I think I can work this. I can make this work.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely slowed me down and I needed it and didn't even realize that I needed it at the time.
I think that's many of us because
Yeah.
my husband said to me the other day. He said, when we met, you were always on the go, and he said, so to hear you now say you like to be at home or you appreciate being home or you're a homebody, he said it's kind of foreign to me. But I said, there are seasons in life.
Yeah.
So in that season, it may have been time for me to go, but don't get it twisted. I suffered the ramifications of not respecting my body's boundaries and not having the discipline to say, you know what, I'm gonna spend Saturday in today. Now, I would have those days where I would do nothing, I would stay home, but for the most part, I was just like the Energizer Bunny, just constantly going, just like
Me and you both.
you know. And so, I think he is probably like, like his mind is like, what is this, my wife? Because I thought you had to go. And I'm thinking, no, honey, been there, done that. And to everything, there is a season. So for the season that I was out there doing those things, that was the time to do it. But my life is different now. I mean, I have dogs who I absolutely love to hang out with. I have him, and I'm building a life with him. I get a chance to spend time with my family, my mother, and other people that I care about. So it's a different season. I wanted to share this with you. Tammy says, "Good morning. I'm a licensed master social worker working in behavioral health. It's important to practice self-care.
Mhm.
My goal, I'm sorry, swallowed wrong. My goal is to be in private practice and working on writing my first self-published book. So this is on point this morning, ladies. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome to be able, and I love that you all are sharing this because that's the whole point of us getting up on a Saturday morning,
Mhm.
interrupting ourselves. Isn't that right, Rhonda? Interrupting
Yeah.
our beauty sleep. That's the whole that's the whole point, to be
Yeah.
able to say to you that what can you do right now? How can you come out of COVID better? Yes, I know we've been through a rough year, everybody. I know we have. We feel the ramifications of that. I heard Rhonda say, earlier, she said, I'm tired. Now, me, I'm a little bit different because I think I'm just kind of, there are things that I how can I say it? I practice mindfulness in the sense that there's certain things I can control, and
Mhm.
that which I can't control, I let it fly. And
Mhm.
also having gone through a health challenge,
Mhm.
and wondering some nights, okay, what's going on? Why am I here? So
Yeah.
looking at the world, I look at the world a little bit differently, and I think there's nothing I can do about that. But as long
Yeah.
as I have my relationship with God, my family, my health, that's what I can focus on. I can focus on making my corner of the world better, even with all that chaos out there.
Oh
Make,
man, it's been tough.
it's been tough. It's been
But
a tough year, and I and
I
I
do
want
want
you.
to encourage people though,
Yeah,
if there are people considering getting that side hustle or a side job or
yeah,
exploring entrepreneurship, I want to encourage people to think about what brings you joy.
good. That's good.
What do you enjoy doing that you feel like you're good at that people will pay for?
That's good.
So, do you like fitness? People may need a trainer. If you love to cook, if you're a teacher right now, you can set up online tutoring classes. Why? Because these folks need it. I can't help my daughter with this new math. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't understand it. We learn math one way, and the kids are learning it a whole different way, but they come up with the same answers.
Hmm.
So just think about what brings you joy because I love what I'm doing right now. I completely enjoy it. So if I have to put in 80 hours one week, it's okay because I
Hmm.
love it. I did that in television. I did that, at the transit authority because I just believe in giving 110%, but it's just so different. It's so different when it's something that you love. When you love what you do, you can just do it and it doesn't feel like work.
Oh, that's so good. And Rhonda, I wouldn't dare try to take advantage of the situation or whatever, but that's one of the things that I talk about in my book. Now is the time for your new beginning. Because when I left broadcast news, it was one of what I felt was one of the lowest points in my life. And I had to lean on everything that you just said. What do you love? What would you do? What would people pay you for? What can you work at endlessly and not be concerned about, the time? So I love that you said that. You were speaking to me when you said that. um how do people get in touch with you if they want to use your services? Because we want to be a blessing to you today, and I'm gonna let you kind of spend the next few minutes talking about that, and as we get ready to close out. So tell people how they can get in touch with you, and leave us with some final comments for the self-care Saturday.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So the name of my company is Carmine Communications. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I have a website, I'm on Twitter, not as much on Twitter. I don't really like Twitter, but I have a Twitter account and I check it. And then email, you can email me at carminecommunications@gmail.com. Phone number 205-602-2123. And basically, what I do is similar to what Kisa did in the corporate world. I help businesses tell their story. So there's so many small businesses out there. They have great services and great products, but people don't know about those services and products because they have been so busy building their business that they haven't really marketed or advertised or come up with their story. And you have a story. So
Mm.
that's what I do. I help you. If you don't know what that story is, I help you develop it. And if you already have that story, I help you advertise and market it. So thank you so much, Kisa, for this platform. And I learned a lot from you. I'm going to Google grounding as soon as we get off.
And practice it when it's dry and when it's warm, not right now, with the, with the wet ground and everything. And another note to this as we get ready to really wrap and let you all have the rest of your Saturday, it's really kind of cool because I want to start. I'm intentional about what I'm doing with this, and you seeing Ronda on, and you seeing me bring other African American women on to talk about their businesses or their coaching practices or whatever. Because at this point in my life, it has to be collaboration over competition. Ronda is experienced in some things, and she will nod in agreement and let you know that I did this. And I literally said to Ronda a couple of days ago, I said, Ronda, there's some things I don't know. You've been out there. You've been doing some things that I have not been doing. So how do you do this? How do you make this happen? What are your thoughts about this? I think that once we get to the point to where we understand that my sister is not my competitor, even if she's doing more than what I'm doing, even if she's doing the same thing that I'm doing, she's not my competitor. She can help me. And sometimes God will show you a person doing bigger and better and more so they can help you, because that's how they get blessed. You understand? I'm at a place where I have to link up with some people in coaching. I have to link up with some people because I haven't been doing it forever. And guess what? I'll always have a coach. I'll always have a mentor because I want to grow and I want to be effective. So stay tuned to some things, some events, some more collaborations between me and Ronda. And she gave you the information. Is it Carmine Communications? Carmine Communications, is that right, Ronda?
That's right. That's right.
Carmine Communications. Google it. You can look up Ronda on Facebook. You can send her a message or whatever if you want to be able to help her. Ladies, my final encouragement to you today: collaboration over competition. We can do more together than we can apart. I'm not saying don't be wise. I'm not saying don't protect yourself. But what I'm saying is, at some point, as a community, on this self-care Saturday, as a community, we have to be thinking about how we can partner together. Sure, I recognize everybody's not in favor of it. I recognize some people are more self-centered, but I can tell you this: it's not everybody. It's not everybody out there.
Yeah.
I want to acknowledge you. I'm listening, Rhonda, if you wanted to say something. Knowing your metron or sphere of influence, that's right, from Felicia. Maya gave us some hearts. We have somebody that says, yes, one Facebook user, yes, to collaboration. And we have someone else here who says, real talk. So ladies and gents, we're going to let you all go. We can do more together. Yes. And Tammy Post says, yes, love it. We can do more together. And remember, if you share out the broadcast before I pick the winners, you become eligible to win some free product from All Shea Naturals. And we have our buy one, get one that continues today because you all blew it out of the roof. Rhonda, you talk about that side hustle. I'm so glad I had that side hustle in place, doggone. And all I know is these folks were freaking waiting for a sale because they're going to have me busy. So as soon as I hang up with you, I think we can talk right now, or we can talk a little bit later. They've put me to work this weekend with this Black Friday sale. Okay, they've put me to work, and it's not a complaint. Oh, and let me tell you, speaking of Black owned, gosh, I want to get this card right here. Rhonda, have you ever heard of this? I want to give them a shout out. Have you ever heard of Three Daughters Beauty Supply in 5 Points?
No.
They opened 4 months ago. That was the CEO is the lady that I was telling you about who said, I'm working, but I also, during the pandemic, had an opportunity to open this shop. It's been in my heart. And, I long say, we have other people who are selling to us and who are showing us what Black hair care and Black beauty means. But it's Three Daughters Beauty Supply. It's over at 5 Points West, right by the. Now I don't know why the name of this center escapes me, but right in the heart of 5 Points West, the newly revised little.
Okay.
Okay, I forget. Right where the Captain D's. What is that? The name is escaping me. What's the center that they just recently revamped where they're bringing in all the businesses, the Starbucks and
The
the
Starbucks and yeah, I don't know what it's called, but I know exactly what you're talking about. The hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hotel.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just the Crossplex. Thank you, Lord. The newly revamped Crossplex. So if you're out shopping for beauty supplies, I was really impressed because I've gone to other shops that are not owned by us, and I was really kind of giving her some feedback and saying, hey, if you would add this and if you could do whatever, we would come in and support. So Three Daughters Beauty Supply in 5 Points West, located right next to Starbucks in that little business little section. If I want you all to go out and to support them, because when we support one another, we ourselves become stronger. Rhonda, I'm going to give you some time back and let you go and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. How about that?
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been so cool. Hey, like y'all, she's just so relaxing to me. Like
I just go with the flow. I'm like, hey, it's Saturday.
I mean, really, we should go out and enjoy. We got some sunshine starting off, so we want y'all to go out and enjoy. Thank y'all for sharing out the broadcast. And we'll talk to you later. Bye, Rhonda.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with me.